At the T-minus 3-minute mark, tape recorders on board the spacecraft were turned on. These recorders record both voice and data. We have ignition on each underside. The engine's now building up to 7.7 million pounds of thrust. We have a launch commit and we have a liftoff. Moving back. The Saturn V lifting off the power.
We are here, back on the air, 105.9. Had a great time with David Rosane and the Zookeepers. They're heading out right now. Had a great set. Now I'm here with my friend Steve Smith, Lapis Pop. How you doing, Steve?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So Lapis Pop is the music project. It's a psych electronic. It's an amalgamation of many things. Well, what can you say? What would you call Lapis Pop's music?
So yeah, I was kind of going with psych pop for a while. I'm never like great with genre. I'm just like I think I know what it is, and then I see people really describing it, and I'm just like, man, all right, I'll just call it how I think it is.
Yeah, maybe it's best we just leave them behind.
It's electronic music, and
yeah.
I like psych rock, and that's basically what I'm going for. So electronic psych rock is what I settle on generally.
Nice. Well, how about we just get right into it with the track then? I think that'd make more
Sure,
sense.
Man, yeah. I'll play one from my first release. It's an EP I released about a year ago. And this song is called Chao, C-H-A-O, in parentheses, down A. I'll make sure we get the volume right here. Here it comes.
That was Chow Down A, Lapis Pop. We got him in the studio right here. Steve Smith is here. Steve, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's such a great opportunity to have a diversity of music in this area, and we're glad that we have an electronic artist in here because totally under represented on our show. We're glad that you're here representing.
Awesome. Love to represent.
And Steve Smith is your real name. Lapis Pop is your producer performance name. Can you tell us the origin?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, there's a stone that's called a lapis lazuli. It's like a blue stone, a deep blue stone with golden flakes, and it was the original blue pigment that was used by Egyptians and other like early artists, and I just happened to stumble upon it at this like local apothecary kind of new agey place called Sun Moon Stars in my hometown. It was super random type of store for that area, and it was like in high school when I went in there, and I just found this stone there for sale, and it said that it like embraced really close friendships and trust and honesty, and I just was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I really like this. I always like the color blue. I'll check it out.
Nice.
And, I made one of those wire wrap necklaces, which, around here it kind of seems like one of those tired things that you see with the, quote unquote hippie jam crowd or something. But I hadn't really seen anyone with one of those, and it was just a necklace I wanted to make because I liked Lapis. So the idea is that it's music that might be the pop music of the universe of Lapis Lazuli, basically.
Beautiful. I love that idea, and it certainly sounds otherworldly, and it definitely straddles the lines of many different genres. I mean, I've listened through the track list today of of the last 2 years, and it's, I mean, I'm interested to know what artists inspire you to make to inspire you to grow musically.
Yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of bands that I've liked, over the years since I ever started liking music. Like the first band I ever liked was like in 5th grade, Gorillaz.
Nice.
Like I bought Demon Days, that album, and it was funny because my mom's seeing these cartoon characters smoking cigarettes and stuff, and it's just like, what's the music you like? But I don't know, something about it resonated with me. Got really into Radiohead. They were my favorite bands early on, but that turned more into like Animal Collective, this band Black Moth Super Rainbow, which they're not very well known. They're out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's kind of the vocoder that you heard in the song. That's where that inspiration comes from.
Right. I checked them out since you told me about them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, very cool. Very cool music. Very unique.
And nowadays, like, might not hear the influence so much on that one, but King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, my favorite bands right now. And can't forget the Flaming Lips.
Oh, yeah.
I could go on, but that's basically what's been swimming around.
Cool. Totally an eclectic mix of music. And speaking of eclectic mix of music, you've got certainly a wide variety of music you've made yourself. I mean, maybe it's just me as a music head, but I hear such a variety throughout. You know what I mean? You're introducing new pieces of electronics. You're dropping off old things, and I'm sure you still got them somewhere in your apartment. But it's kind of like an evolutionary thing where it's keeps on changing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I'm glad that's what you think and what you've noticed. Because I just hope that don't sound like I'm doing the same thing over and over. But yeah, I mean, I've been improving my gear, repertoire as time's gone on. I've been doing this since like 2010, and back then I had an older sampler, and I was recording stuff on GarageBand, like using the pinhole mic on a eMac with the amp going out, and that's evolved to like a USB audio setup and more samplers and synths, and I've been working on mixing this whole time, learning stuff here and there and recording stuff on Logic now. So
yeah, picking up moves as you go.
Yeah.
Well, would you like to introduce the next track and let us know when you made it, what it's called, and anything interesting about it you want to share?
So the next one is called Chrysocolic, and that's a word I made this other stone called chrysocolla, which is a green like aquamarine stone, and gonna admit I don't really remember the exact properties of that stone or what's going on with that, but basically, you know, I kind of took the word chrysocolla and took alcoholic type thing and mashed it together. It's not a song about alcoholism, but more about just a sort of indulgence in kind of passionate relationship without really thinking about where it's going to go or planning it out, without sticking to any particular rule book before taking the dive, and just like throwing all of the cards away and being like, I'm just like oh, we're just doing this again. Here we go again.
Here we go.
Another unpredictable thing that we're going to go through.
Well, we got Lapis Pop in the studio. Next track is Chrysocolic. Got 105.9 on your dial. Keep it locked on there. That was Crisacolic from Lapis Pop. We got him in the studio, the man behind the myth, Steve Smith. Thanks again for coming in and joining us, and thanks for playing these great songs for us. We really appreciate it. Like I said, it's great to have some electronic music on the show.
Of course. Thank you again as well.
Now, I mean, that last song, Crisacolic, we hear layers and layers and layers of music. But when I see videos of you playing live, you don't have a laptop that you're queuing up track after track on. And I'm interested to know how you translate without a computer those like intricate pieces. Like, what does the process look like to get a song from that point to where you can present it live?
Right. Well, yeah, with each song it's different. It all depends on how I recorded it. Like some of them I do, I record the drum track from my sampler, which, I have it's called a Korg Electribe 2, and you can make drum patterns on it, and also add synth layers and stuff like that. And so a lot of the time I'll just keep layering things, and I'll be like, oh no, like I don't have enough hands for this when I play live. But how I solve that live sometimes is I have some of the tracks or some of the drum tracks just like on my iPod on an MP3 file, and I'll just press play on that and then do the other stuff I can do live on top of it. I always do singing live, but some other songs I just have the patterns on my sampler and I just switch between them live, or I mute certain things to have the transition parts going well. And it's mostly just me, synthesizer, sampler, and vocals.
Nice. And I know that other times, I've talked to you about this before, that other times you bring in other musicians on it. Sometimes you don't have your hands on every switch, though I know you can. How do you collaborate live with electronics?
Yeah, to be honest, I actually haven't done that too much. I did used to play in a band that plays around here called Kudu Stooge.
Oh, nice.
I used to do synth and sampler with them on some of their songs. But that's the thing, it is pretty tough, especially when I'm used to doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And I don't really do things by a strict music theory sense. I don't usually think of things in terms of key or time signatures. So when I work with people who do, it's like, oh no, like I'm the weakest link. But I do it by ear and it makes sense to me. But yeah, if I was gonna collaborate with someone, like have them lay down guitar or something, and it's one of my tracks, usually just feel it out, hang out at some point, and then just figure it out that way.
Nice.
I would love to play my music with a live band, like a bassist and a drummer, but it's hard to get people on your schedule and be like, hey, so you're gonna hang out with me all these days no matter what, and you better be into it every time. It's a lot to ask of people, and I just, I'm a pretty independent person. So.
Yeah, well, you're making a great go of it by yourself. It's a sweet thing, and I've seen some live videos. I'd love to see it live sometimes. I'm sure, hopefully before you leave for Maine, that I'll get to hear some of that. And speaking of Burlington and playing with people in Burlington, there's a lot of punk, there's a lot of indie rock, there's a lot of folk, there's metal, there's post rock, there's a lot of different things coming from young people in Burlington. How does Burlington react to electronic music in a live setting? Do they know what to do with it? Are they excited? Are they?
Yeah, it's been a very varied response depending on where I've played and people's mood around me. But I think the best response I've got was playing at Half Lounge, because usually DJs play there.
Oh, nice.
And I would not call myself a DJ in a million years, because I'm not playing anyone else's music.
Yeah.
I have nothing against DJs. It's just I'm not one.
You are not a DJ.
And so I think I got the best response there, because I was just this guy who was singing with some electronic stuff that no one had heard before, and there's just a bunch of people going to this place from like 11 to 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
And there are these 3 random French business dudes who came to that show, and they were just like getting down, getting drunk to my music, and I had no idea what was going on. But yeah, there are a lot of people who just stumbled into that one and had a good time. But then, I've also played other shows where, like Radio Bean Wednesday night at midnight in November, and there's no one there. It's literally me and the bartender, and I was just like, no one can make this one. But yeah, I think when people have been there to see it, they've given me good feedback. But yeah, there aren't a lot of people doing it, and I think generally in bar scenes on the weekend and stuff, people like to go see a group of people playing music, playing guitars and stuff.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that just seems to be...
Maybe it's just because it's what they expect. I mean,
Yeah.
I personally hope that it's a growing thing, because electronic acts live is something that I see so rarely. And I just saw the other day, we had a few performers in here at Big Heavy World for one of our all ages shows. Zig Tibra was in here, and Plastic Mammals is a local group that was in here. And they had some synthesizers going. They had some electronic drums with drum pads. And I was like, this is great. I love seeing this. And I'm liking that I'm seeing it more.
Yeah, I haven't seen it enough. I know there are plenty of bands here I still haven't heard of and just haven't seen who are probably doing kind of similar stuff. I guess I might just add that I've had this theory that maybe when people are going out to see music some night, it's much more inviting when it's a group of people in a band, and it's like, oh, we're going to see this cool band, let's go support the band. Whereas when it's one person, it's like, let's all go support that guy or that person, So, I can just understand why it's not more widespread. But again, I think it's more someone putting their artistic self out there,
right,
as an entity, and it's more for people who want to just go and really listen to the music, not necessarily just go have fun watching a band go for it,
Yeah. Well, I mean, there certainly could be a market for that in a city like this, where people everywhere you go are expressing themselves and are creating.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you like to share next on the air here?
Oh man, how much time do we have left?
Oh man, we got a few minutes. Why don't we have we'll do another track. I'll ask you a few more questions, and then we'll send it off with a track.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll play another one that is from my EP I released last summer, and this one's instrumental actually. It's a little less emotionally indulgent.
Okay.
And it's called Coco and Pura.
All right, it's 105.9. We got Lapis Pop live in the studio. We got Lapis Pop in the studio. Another great track from you. I'm wondering how you come up with how you go about naming instrumental tracks like that. What was the name of that last one?
So that one was called Coco and Pira.
Is it something you hear before? Is it something that comes to you before the song is ever created, or is it something you listen for in the song?
No, this one, it's entirely because of the tiger. I don't know if you ever played the game Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
The Crash Bandicoot Warped. There's a level where you're riding the tiger. You're Coco and you're riding the tiger, and the tiger's name's Pira. So it was originally called Pira, and I was like, I could add Coco in there too. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really have anything more to do with that aside from the tiger sound, but like I just, I love that game, and I just
Crash
I think it's
Bandicoot's
got
awesome.
a cool vibe like that, I guess.
Yeah, and that tiger sample is awesome. It's ferocious, man. And speaking of ferocious, there's a ferocious downpour going on. If you're driving, please be safe. Don't listen too intently if you're driving. Listen passively.
Sound like some thunder.
Yeah. Speaking of that honestly segues perfectly into another point I saw on your website, that you don't necessarily need people to be 100% dedicated to listening to your music. You say that there's it's a certain level of like ambiguity that makes it so that it can be what the listener wants it to be. Is that right? Do you still feel that way?
That is very right. See, you did the homework I want everyone to do. But no, yeah, I like to write music that's meaningful to me for its own reasons, and if anyone else can relate to that sort of thing, then that's great. But it's also cool for the music to have a little bit of open-endedness to it, a little ambiguity, so that they could come up with their own meaning, because I find a lot of the music I like is like that as well. It's not like a linear like love song where it's like, oh, if you've never had this experience, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
Or like anything. I realize it can be alienating because a lot of the time, you can't hear the lyrics like super well, at least at the first go. You might have to look them up, but again, that's what I like to do. That's the type of music I like. So it's, I think you shouldn't understand a song first listen.
That's a good way to look at it. It doesn't really put too much pressure on the listener, I feel.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not like, I don't get it, I'm never listening to it again. It's like, what was that, man? I got to go back.
Exactly. I like it to be as much just a straight sonic experience as much as something that you can just continue to look more and more into, and you find more and more things out about it, and then it's like, oh, you have your own meaning that you attributed to it, but then there's this whole lore behind it as well.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like abstractness to it.
Yeah.
And a little bit of abstractness in the videos that go with them, some of them too. You showed me earlier this week, Steve and I got a chance to hang out, and he showed me some of the videos that go with some of his songs. Check them out on Facebook, Lapis Pop, if you want to, because, man, it is some wild stuff, and it's not necessarily anything that's telling you how to feel. You know what I mean? It's not saying, like, follow this story. Like, gotta pay attention. Gotta, like, you know what I mean? It's got, like, that same level of kind of ambiguity. I don't know how to describe them. How would you describe the videos? What do you... Why do you like making those videos?
Oh, man, I like to make something that's interesting to look at, something that you don't really know what you're looking at necessarily.
Yeah.
I definitely like to call the visuals heavily psychedelic. I mean, when I'm making them, I'm basically taking found footage and just adding a bunch of effects to the images to create some symmetry, some like color hue cycles, and it's amazing with just a simple video editing software what you can do, and just by experimenting with it, you can find some interesting synchronicities with the music and the video. I'm not really trained, I guess, in making videos. I've kind of just learned to do it myself. I did go to Emerson College for a year. Shout out to Emerson.
Shout out to Emerson.
I didn't go for film, but I was surrounded by film people all the time, so they made me hard on myself for a while about my own video editing. But for my own purposes, I got this really cheap video editing software called VideoPad, and
Cool.
it does the job.
Man, I like your approach to this. I like that you're not going by the textbook with the music or the videos, and I feel like I mean, this is a judgment just on my part, but I feel like that's a part of you getting to this unique stage of like music and art, like kind of abandoning that like classical, like instead of going by the textbook, you're like burning the textbook as for warmth.
Yeah, I mean, I find the more I compare myself to a standard or to what other people are doing, or it just like starts to get me down. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna do what makes me happy, because that's what they say you should be doing. It should be fun first and foremost, and the minute you stop having fun, maybe you should reconsider what's going on. Though I do like to take it seriously in the point of like, okay, I'm improving. This song sounds better than it did yesterday because of what I've been doing to it. So, setting my own standards that are more or less in line with some professional standards, but definitely not following a textbook.
Yeah.
I don't like textbooks.
Shout out to Emerson. No, but really.
No, they don't like textbooks either.
Speaking of being all over the place, I mean, I heard you're leaving Vermont soon. Is that right?
I am. Yeah, it's a very bittersweet thing. In the fall, I'm moving back with my parents in South Berwick, Maine, to the house in town I grew up in. It's only 3.5 hours away, but I've been in Burlington for like 5 years now. 5, yeah, I think 5, and it's not like I'm still meeting people, and like I just met you, and I'm just like, man, like I'm leaving, but you're also leaving, so
yeah.
But no, it's just a thing where I know I need to leave. I know I can't keep mostly working the same job and stuff like that. Employment's tough around here. Ask anyone, they'll tell you that. And I'm working on an album, and I want to be able to give it my all, and be able to spend most of my time working on music, not my very minimal free time that I balance with friends and going places. And I want to have most of my weekly regimen be music.
Well, on that note, you think we can get a taste of the new music?
Yeah.
You got anything we can check out before you go?
I do. I have a track that I think is in very good shape. It probably won't change too much from this. It is called Lazuli, so I'm taking the second part of Lapis Lazuli on this one. The album is going to be called Codex Lazuli. I can't tell you when it's coming out, but
all right.
Here's Lazuli.
I'll tell you that I'm looking forward to it. It's 105.9 The Radiator, Rocket Shop, local music radio hour. We've been here with Lapis Pop. We've had a great night. Thank you so much for coming into the studio. We're going to send it off on this one, on this rainy night. If you're driving home, please get home safe. If you're listening in on YouTube, don't go outside because it's raining like crazy.
Thanks again, man.
Sorry about that. We've been here with Lapis Pop. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. It was really fun. I extremely appreciate it.
I just want to let everybody know you can check out BigHeavyWorld.com for the podcast. Check out our Facebook, Big Heavy World, our YouTube at Big Heavy World. You can see all these videos and all the great rocket shops to come. Tune in next week, same time, same place, for the same show with some more great local Vermont music. Steve, thanks one more time. We appreciate you coming in.
Have a good one.